up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Champions League group phase draw. Took place about 45 minutes ago, and Barcelona do have a very tasty affair. We have drawn PSG at home, Chelsea away, Eintracht Frankfurt at home, Club Brugge away, Red Star away, Olympiacos at home, Copenhagen at home, and Newcastle United away. Now, from the teams and opponents we could have gotten, this is quite decent. I'm quite content with it. I think there's a bit of excitement in there. It's not super challenging. It's not super easy. We were at a point where we were definitely confirmed to either get Man City or PSG. And then we got PSG. Of course, would have preferred Man City in that case. But I think it's a very entertaining 8 games. The 8 games are going to be very interesting, especially on where we're going to be playing. Are we going to be at the Camp Nou? Are we going to be at the Montjuic? Are we playing in my backyard? I have no idea. Of course, we're going to be facing the current champions, Paris Saint-Germain, the game that probably every football fan in the world wants to watch, and this will be at home. Whatever the board want to do, they have got to get the Camp Nou ready for that game. If that game is not taking place at the Camp Nou, I don't even want to watch it. Eintracht Frankfurt, we can finally get our revenge for 2021. Chelsea's always a good game. Club Brugge will be easy. Red Star will be easy. Of course, with them being away, you never know. I think Olympiacos and Copenhagen at home are the bankers. Of course, Copenhagen, Ronny Bargi could be facing a former team already. We have Andreas Christensen facing his former team in Chelsea as well. Newcastle United is a bit of a bogey one. Away at St. James's Park is going to be an interesting affair. I think really what it comes down to is when these games are being placed. I think we're pretty much guaranteed the fact that Newcastle will be a game that will come before or after PSG or Chelsea is what I'm thinking. If they're all spaced out, we should be okay. I'm not too complaining. But then again, in the group stage, in the league phase, when we saw last season, you only have 2 games really, 1 to 2 games where you can mess up and still finish that top 8 easily. I think, in my opinion, the hardest game is Newcastle away, and I'll explain why in a second. I think Chelsea away will be a difficult game with Al Shabadell and PSG at home. But these are teams that are leveling, big teams face to face. You always back yourself. St. James's Park is on a different level, especially on Champions League nights, especially against the bigger teams as well. That is going to be a very tasty affair. But if we can have that St. James's game spaced out and have maybe the beginning St. James's Park, then maybe in the middle PSG, then at the end Chelsea, I think we will definitely play both PSG and Chelsea before the turn of the year. So they'll probably play them, I would say, around October, November time is where they like to have the big games for the Champions League. But I think on track. I think the 3 other home games should be to walk in the park. I think Club Brugge and Red Star will be quite easy. Club Brugge could be a bit of a challenge because they have gotten some big results against big teams in their home stadium over the past few years. Quite a regular team in the Champions League, so I wouldn't count them out completely. I think the only 3 guaranteed games would be Olympiacos, Copenhagen, and Red Star. The rest you never know, of course, depending on how our squad looks. I do hope we face Chelsea and Newcastle near the end of the year, because with them being English clubs, they play a lot of football, and of course, playing a lot of football, what comes with it? Injury issues. I think their team could be a bit weaker during that time as well. Of course, not hoping for anything and not hoping for player injuries, stuff like that. This is just what I'm predicting, what I've seen. I think English teams, they play a lot in that September-October period, especially on top of the 2 to 3 international breaks in there as well. We could maybe see some injuries. Newcastle's team, a lot of complaints there. The team is quite weaker with Alexander Isak pushing for a move out. They just signed that German striker, like Weisterman or whatever his name is, for fucking 90 million. I mean, if he's 90 million for a minute, it's easily 100 million. We could be selling Firmino to Chelsea. I think that as well will have some big implications now. Now that we're facing Chelsea, you don't want to, give Firmino up that easily. I think Firmino now will end up staying. He's already having a bit of doubts. Barcelona going to be asking for a lot of money. We're too near the end of the transfer window. We're facing them as well, so highly doubt that will be a transfer that comes to fruition unless Chelsea offer big money, or unless Firmino really wants to push his way out the door, saying I'm not going to play unless you let me leave or something like that. But I think very likely that Firmino will end up staying. But I think it's a very entertaining group stage draw. I'm really a low-key game I'm really looking forward to is Eintracht Frankfurt. I know we don't have too many players from that squad that face that Eintracht Frankfurt, match in the Europa League back then. But that has won for the Barcelona fans, and this will be at home as well, so it's going to be, a bit of deja vu a little bit. But very, very exciting. Again, not too easy, not too difficult as well, definitely manageable, and of course, the best team to look out for is Power PSG. Probably that's one of the two best teams in the world will face. Kind of sucks in the group stages, but at this point, people just really want to see it rather than not have it. Especially PSG fans, they've battered every single team: Real Madrid, Atletico, Bayern, Inter, Arsenal, Liverpool. They beat everyone but us. We're kind of like the last ones that they kind of have to beat to kind of really bring their record to life. Hopefully we can stop that. I think this will be a very entertaining game that everyone wants to watch. I think Chelsea away, Stamford Bridge, we haven't been there since 2017, 2018, when Dembele scored his first goal for Barcelona. Messi equalizer at Stamford Bridge. That's always going to be an entertaining game, and the rest should be okay. But I'm very interested to see now when these games and where these games in between each other will take place. Of course, there's going to be 2 to 3 games. I think 2 games in January. Which 2 games will that be? Will it be St. James's Park? Will it be Stamford Bridge? Will it be Camp Nou, PSG? Those 3 big games for us is going to be Newcastle, Chelsea, and PSG. Where those are spaced down the calendar, I think will have massive, massive, massive implications. Of course, last season, we drew to Atlanta and lost to Monaco. We actually lost our first game and then drew our last game and then won all the ones in the middle. So we'll wait and see how we do different this time. Again, you only have room really to drop points, I would say, in 1 to 2 games at the absolute most to finish in that top 8. Of course, we saw last season, PSG finished 25th. They won the Champions League. We saw that also that 3 of the top 4 teams in the league phase made the Champions League final: Inter, Arsenal, and Barcelona. I think they finished 2nd, 3rd, and 4th respectively. So the league table also has some implications, especially for the draw later on as well. But if there is one game where I would put money on that Barcelona drop points, I don't know why Newcastle St. James's Park is screaming my name. That's probably the only game where I think I would probably place money on Barcelona, dropping points, especially what's going to be happening in La Liga at that time as well. How's the La Liga title race going? What games do we have there and around it? Will we prioritize that or not? Of course, the first 3, maybe 4 Champions League games, you're going to prioritize it no matter what, unless we have an El Clasico weekend coming up. But I think where these games are played is going to be interesting. When we get our first game away as well, so we can have the Camp Nou ready. We're kind of, talking to UEFA, trying to bribe Sefran a little bit. We'll wait and see if we can get any of that over the line. But I'm very pleased with this draw. And speaking of the draw as well, some other teams got some heavy hitters. Like, let's not beat around the bush here. Real Madrid have a hugely tough draw. I think they have Liverpool, City, Juventus. I think they have Marseille, Benfica. They got some tough teams. I forget the other one. I clicked off once Barcelona did their draw, but I remember seeing like Chelsea's draw, Bayern Munich's draw, PSG's draw. But Real Madrid got a tough one there as well, so that could derail them. They got Liverpool, Real Madrid as well. They got Liverpool, City, Juventus, and I want to say Benfica, Marseille, and then someone else as well. So they got a tough affair. So I think Barcelona definitely got the better of the bunch. We got some tough teams in there, but definitely manageable to say the least. I think the Frankfurt, Olympiacos, Copenhagen, Brugge, Red Star, that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. That's got to be 15 out of 15. Like, no exceptions there whatsoever. It's where the other 3 games where you have some wiggle. Maybe I'd keep an eye on Frankfurt and Club Brugge. I think Frankfurt is the storyline maybe, but we are at home. We should be fine. Club Brugge away, you never know, especially for tired legs. We have big games in between it. Hopefully our squad will be semi-healthy by then as well. But I think the placement of these games is where it's going to be absolutely crucial. Once we get these fixtures and where they're going to be, and then we put them in between our actual schedule in La Liga, that's where you'll really see if we have tough runs or not and how things will fare. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know your thoughts on the Barcelona draw. Are you happy with it? Satisfied with it? Do you think it's tough? You think it's easy? You think it's kind of in the middle? Your thoughts on the other draws as well for the other La Liga sides. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care and Forza Barca.